981. And you can also tweet at Smooth981. We're streaming the show live as well, so you can catch the live stream on YouTube. Just search for Smooth981. And I've got Rotus with me this morning. Hello, Rotus. Good morning.
Good morning, Zibby. Good morning to all our viewers and listeners, and welcome to another week.
Yay. Okay. So we're talking about the NESG Presidential Economic Dialogue. Can we dive in?
Yes, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. It is a think tank, policy think tank, constantly advising government on the best economic policies to push the country forward. And they have a regular series where, at least for the presidential elections, they talk to the candidates and they essentially discuss what the candidates' plans are for the economy. This is particularly notable because they were supposed to have this dialogue earlier, but I don't think they were able to get everyone with respect to the forerunners, those who are considered to be the forerunners. So I think they finally got them together, and they had this chat. They just posted it on their YouTube page over the weekend. And what's notable is that this actually took place last month. It took place on January, I think it was January the 13th. So they've just been, I guess, editing, putting the footage together, and now it's been released.
So who would you say people were most willing to hear from?
Well, I mean, they were willing to hear from everyone, but I think they were most eager to hear from the presidential candidate of the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, because, he has unfortunately been not too chatty with the media and all these policy houses. I think the last talk he had was Chatham House. But here, he actually sat down, he took questions from the moderator, took questions from the audience. And so, yeah, he was the one that people were, particularly curious to hear from.
So what did the presidential candidate for the APC say he would do about youth employment?
Well, he just said basically that they're going to train more youth, and he said they should, incentivize agriculture, and that there is enough there in agriculture to absorb not all unemployment, but at least a sizable amount. So he emphasized training youth, and that's the way to go with respect to unemployment.
Well, this show is interactive, so let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981, and you can also tweet at Smooth981. And what exactly was it that he said with regards to Nigeria's revenue challenges?
Well, he says that he's going to get revenue from removal of subsidy. He says, so he keeps going on that he's going to yank it off, he's going to remove it. And the subsidy savings, he says the subsidy savings can be applied to Nigeria's revenue. I mean, it's not the silver bullet, but at least we'll get a sizable amount of money from there. So we will see if he keeps his promise. The clock is ticking. Once the handover happens in May, provision for subsidy ends in June, and we will see if after June the subsidy still exists.
I've got a message coming through on WhatsApp, and this one is from Benga. Benga says, all the advice this body gives to governments, how much have we seen in government's economic policy?
Yeah, the government tends not to listen much. I mean, the NESG has talked about removing subsidies in particular, and they've raised alarms over debts. But, Benga is correct. They haven't really taken much of their advice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his thoughts on monetary and fiscal policy. Can you share?
Yeah, it was a very interesting answer there. Basically he said they weren't aligned. He didn't really say how he would get them aligned. All he said was that they weren't aligned. And he has one funny analogy that he gave. But I will add that he didn't really go in depth on many of his answers. He kept saying that because he was the one speaking first, he didn't want his opponents to steal his answers. So, so as if we would know it's his answer. Imagine me, we would know it's your answer. We know that's your ideas. But he kept saying that he has, secret weapons and secret tactics in his pocket. And we'll find out what they are if he wins. So he didn't really go in depth. But yeah, that was on monetary and fiscal policy. He said they're not aligned, but he didn't really say how he would align them or what really needs to happen.
Okay. Cisco says training youth and all the heaven and earth. Let them fix the root of every development, which is steady electricity supply. All right.
Great.
Clement Ezeume says, what will the aspirants manage? How will the aspirants manage debts? Okay.
Yeah, so he again, on the debt thing, he said the answer is to grow revenues. I think that's the Labour Party and PDP candidates also alluded to the same thing. So how they grow the revenues, that's what the cocoa of the matter is, as they say.
Okay, let's talk about the Naira notes, the saga of the Naira notes. What is the latest?
Ekiti has joined Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara in suing the federal government. That's the latest that we're hearing. Ekiti has joined the suit to allow for the extension of the use of the notes. I think all eyes on the 15th, all eyes on Wednesday, when I think the Supreme Court will hear the case. So the government, I understand, is moving to vacate, or rather to get out of the ruling. The central bank is pretty much, well, we'll find out what happens on Wednesday. That's when the case is going to be heard.
So how are businesses treating the old notes currently?
It's pretty mixed. I'll tell you this. I bought bananas a couple days ago, and I gave the guy a new notes, and he wanted to give me an old note in return, and I refused. I thought I wasn't going to take it, and he had to give me change in a new note. So he found it. He got me a new note, and he gave me change. So I think psychologically, some people are already reorienting themselves to accept the old notes. I understand some businesses are not taking the old notes anymore, but some are. Some artisans still have the old notes. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, because I think some are anticipating that the government will prevail in court, so they want to they don't want to be holding old notes. But if you think the states are going to prevail in court, then you might still want to hold on to the old ones. But I don't know. Depends. And then some banks we are still seeing lines at ATMs, so banks are still trying to pay out as many new notes as they can. So it all falls on Wednesday. Wednesday is the D-Day. We'll hear what the outcome of the case is with respect to what the future holds. Because I understand. Even the APC candidates at this dialogue said they should extend it for another year to keep accepting the old notes and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of back and forth, but Wednesday I think is D-Day as far as the case is concerned.
What do you think of certain governors like Bello Mataole from Zamfara actually ordering the arrest of people who refuse to accept the old notes?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I heard about that. Whether he can do that is a different story, because he is not the monetary authority that can compel people to do that. How do you implement that? Arrest who? Are you going to have police everywhere in Zamfara where things are being conducted? I don't know. I think we'll have to just wait till Wednesday to see what happens.
All right, let's talk the next biggest challenge, fuel scarcity. What's the latest?
That's also mixed. I know around in certain areas, these fuel stations are selling, but in others, not only there's still a bit of a queue. Some that are selling at a higher price. I know someone I know that lives in Ogba showed me a video of fuel being sold yesterday at like 325 to 350 per liter. So that the fuel supply issue is still a mixed bag, and fuel supply is not completely uniform, although maybe our listeners can give us an update wherever they are. But I know that in certain, like I think Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, some NNPC stations around there, there's less queues. They're selling, but parts of the mainland, I think Maryland and some other areas further out, the supply is still not uniform there. So this is another crucial week to see if things will improve and there will be less traffic, because the disruptions are quite heavy. And I think tomorrow tomorrow's Valentine's Day. It's a big retail day for some businesses that are hoping to do some good sales. So although the ones that I've talked to, they are hopeful that sales will improve, but they are seeing that they are down. So we'll see whether today will be a barometer to see that if fuel supply improves, and whether or not it carries on through the week. NNPC has said that they will try to make sure that supply is available, but we shall see. Zibby will use our own. I mean, have you been able to buy fuel, or what's your experience been?
Yeah, I did get fuel early last week, so I think I'm good for maybe another couple.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
was it a queue or not?
There was a queue.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a queue, but it wasn't. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so I've got a message from Dele. Dele says, Rotus, do you listen to the APC presidential candidates mega projects prospectus on transatlantic gas massive infrastructure? He said Nigeria is going to compete with Russia on gas exportation to Europe. Did you hear him on the port between Ondo and Edo? These are few of what he has projected. And
pretty ambitious guy. Ambitious guy.
Gilbert says, on the APC presidential interaction at the NESG, let us ask ourselves, what is the state of previous agricultural institutions in Nigeria, like the Tropical Institute in Ibadan and the Moore Plantation in Ibadan? Are they progressing or retrogressing? And Sokwe says, I was able to fill my tank yesterday. I got from a petrol station in Aguda. There was almost no queue and it was seamless, though I had to transfer to the attendant with a charge of 500 naira.
Yeah, that's another annoying thing. They're still making people, or rather, that's not annoying, excuse me. That's good news. I thought he said they're forcing him to pay with cash. So that's good news that he was able to transfer.
Wow.
Although he could have used his card.
Right. And Yinka says he talks about giving tax relief to companies as an incentive to absorbing unemployed youth, something I kind of agree with in a way. Training of youth is another thing I agree with. However, this has to be done in partnership with companies because there is a massive skills gap at the moment, like companies suffering from such at the moment, and it's going to get worse, which makes me question the moral standing of ASU. With regards to the incessant strikes. We also need to audit the performance and relevance of teachings done in our institutions over the years. And this has nothing to do with funding. It's about quality of teaching and who should not be a lecturer. And one final message. This one is from Matthew. Matthew says agriculture has greatly improved in Nigeria. The president has tried on that. And that's all the time that we have for Business Express this morning. Thank you, Rotus.
Thanks, Zibby. Thanks to everybody that sent messages. Catch you guys tomorrow.
And that is it for Business Express. But do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Freshly Pressed starts at 7:30.